Let's begin today's journey with a question. Have you ever heard of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon? One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? If the answer is no, don't worry. We will explore one of the greatest mysteries ever created by humankind together. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon is a legendary structure that not only amazes with its stunning beauty but also with the mystery surrounding its actual existence. We often hear about the Hanging Gardens as one of the wonders of the ancient world, but there is something particularly noteworthy. To this day, no one has been able to prove that it ever truly existed. So, could the Hanging Gardens be just a myth? Or was it indeed a masterpiece that has been swept away in the flow of history? So how did the story of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon begin? It is believed to have been built around 600 BC, during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar II, one of the most powerful kings in Babylonian history. This structure was built not only for decorative purposes or to enhance the beauty of the city of Babylon, but also as a gift of love for Queen Amytis, the wife of King Nebuchadnezzar II. Queen Amytis came from a distant land with mountains and lush greenery. And according to legend, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were created as an effort by the king to soothe her homesickness. This is a love that, even in ancient times, was considered immensely powerful and magical. Imagine this scene, a terraced garden, with layers of green trees, blooming flowers, and flowing water, standing on a barren land in the desert. The Hanging Gardens were not only aesthetically beautiful, but also a symbol of creativity and construction techniques far ahead of their time. Let's imagine ourselves standing in the ancient city of Babylon. The massive city walls surround us, and from within the city, from the king's palace, we can see a magnificent garden. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were unlike any other structure in the ancient world. It was built in multiple levels, each with lush green trees, like a floating garden, hanging suspended in space. According to descriptions, the tiers of the Hanging Gardens were built with mud bricks, and on each tier, the lush vegetation could thrive thanks to an incredibly unique irrigation system. Each level of the garden had a water system fed from the Euphrates River, the largest river in the region. Historians recount that to bring water up to these garden levels, the Babylonians invented huge Archimedes screws, capable of drawing water from the Euphrates River up to the higher garden levels. Just imagine, a sophisticated water distribution system, using the power of water to nourish a brilliant garden right in the heart of the desert. The plants in the Hanging Gardens of Babylon weren't just common species, but included rare plants brought from many different lands to adorn this structure. Water and soil from the Media Mountains were brought in to create life in such a barren environment, transforming the Hanging Gardens into a wonder for those who came to admire it. The stunning beauty of the Hanging Gardens was a perfect blend of nature and construction art. The stone steps, the lush vegetation, the winding streams, all were symbols of the greatness and creativity of ancient Babylonian civilization. When you picture the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, don't just think of a simple garden. Imagine a grand wonder, about 80 to 100 meters high, equivalent to a modern-day 10-story building. Each tier of the garden was built meticulously, like a multi-layered cake, with each layer decorated with different kinds of plants. According to ancient records, the Hanging Gardens were not a single garden, but a series of interconnected terraced gardens. Each level of the garden was constructed with a unique irrigation system capable of carrying water from the Euphrates River up to the highest garden levels. This structure not only required remarkable architectural creativity, but also a monumental feat of irrigation engineering. These water systems included a kind of ancient water pump, which may have used wind or human power to push water upwards, creating a continuous flow to nourish the plants. Imagine water from the Euphrates River being carried through small canals and water troughs, passing through stone steps and evenly distributed across each tier of greenery, helping them thrive in the scorching heat of the desert. The plants grown in the Hanging Gardens were not just native species, but also rare plants brought from all over the world to Babylon. From tall palm trees to rare flowers, all contributed to creating a lush, colorful, and vibrant space. Modern archaeologists have yet to determine exactly which plants were grown there, but one thing is certain: the Hanging Gardens of Babylon must have been a place full of fragrant, exotic plants that left anyone who saw it in awe. In addition, The details of the building materials also made the Hanging Gardens a monumental feat. The Babylonians used mud bricks, stone, and local materials to build the garden tiers, yet they were incredibly sturdy and capable of withstanding the harshness of time. This shows the high level of skill the Babylonians possessed, as they were able to build a colossal structure that survived for centuries without damage. Standing at the highest level of the Hanging Gardens, you could see the entire vast city of Babylon, with its sturdy city walls, magnificent palaces, and bustling streets. Surely, if you stood here, you would feel the wonderful fusion of nature and humanity, as if you were in a vibrant, colorful, and fresh painting. The Hanging Gardens were not just an architectural structure, but also a symbol of the connection between humans and nature, of the love and care King Nebuchadnezzar had for his wife, Queen Amytis. So, when you look at the paintings, descriptions, and remaining archaeological materials, imagine that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were not just a simple location, but a living work of art, a marvelous wonder of the ancient world, not just to be admired, but to be experienced and felt. With all the wonderful descriptions of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the big question remains, did this garden really exist? Why, to this day, can we find no definitive evidence of its existence in the city of Babylon? Could it just be a legend, or perhaps a structure that truly disappeared in the flow of history? Many people believe the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are just a legend. Ancient records from historians like Herodotus and Strabo describe a magnificent structure, but there is no archaeological evidence showing that the Hanging Gardens ever existed in Babylon. Some recent archaeological studies have even suggested that the Hanging Gardens might not have been in Babylon, but somewhere else, like the city of Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire, where a similar garden might have existed. There is even a hypothesis that the descriptions of the Hanging Gardens in ancient records could be a mix of various different structures, creating a grand image in the imaginations of people at the time. Archaeologists believe that the descriptions of the actual garden might be a blend of several garden constructions in the region and may not have been a single structure in Babylon. However, what's fascinating is that, despite the lack of solid evidence for the existence of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the story of it continues to live on in the hearts of humankind. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are not just an architectural feat, but also a symbol of love, creativity, and the miracles that humans can create when they push the boundaries of nature. So we have explored together one of the greatest mysteries in the history of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Although there is no definitive evidence of its existence, the story of it still lives on in our minds as a testament to the marvels of ancient Babylonian civilization. The memories of this magnificent garden continue to inspire generations, and perhaps that is the true power of ancient wonders, not just because of their existence, but because they have become an inseparable part of the human story. Thank you for joining me in exploring this part of history. If you love legendary stories and ancient wonders, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to continue exploring more fascinating things with me. See you in the next exploration journey.